Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Today we're looking at a interesting little indie game, I guess, called Of the Devil. And kind of like, Phoenix Wright, more visual novel than game, but we're a public defender, a hard-boiled PD who exists in kind of a cyberpunk future and tries to, you can see she's got a bottle of, I don't know, Jack Daniels or something over to her right. She smokes cigarettes. Yeah, so let's, whoop, why is my controller not working now? There we go. Alright, let's, it says episode 1, but I think I need episode 0. Yeah, here we go, because this is one of those episodic things, indie teams, so, they probably only have the resources to do one episode at a time, which, I'm totally fine with. So we're going to look at the prologue, episode 0. Let's go. Of the Devil. Do I need to push a button? Or... Okay. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise, this city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. There's no escaping the second-hand nervous energy of it all, but I'm plenty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides, a microdose of nightlife anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. That's Morgan. Hi, Morgan! She's a criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper, but by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. It's Sunday of the Devil. That's why this stream is all screwed up. There you go. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown, and always online. Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's slight shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. Solitude's a rarity, anonymity is scarce, and criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the whole world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until... my phone! Counselor, your public defender contract has been approved! Alright, we might get paid today! Are we commissioned? Like, do we get paid whether our client is... we get the client the charges dismissed, right? We get paid either way? Okay, just make sure. You're expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early, Morgan. I'll try. Less than 3. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now, 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are gonna get busy. Of the Devil, Episode 0, Cursor. And he shall appear. Disable tutorials? You can turn them back on in the settings. No, we like tutorials. I like to know what I'm doing. Oh, lost the suspect. One thing I appreciate, particularly from an indie dev, you don't even see this all the time from larger studios. I've actually got dual shock buttons on the UI bar at the bottom there. Usually, if you get anything, you get the Xbox controller buttons. You know, A, B, X, Y instead of the shapes. So yeah, I appreciate that. Precinct 254. Hmm. It's it's a goddamn ghost town with nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Press the phone button or tap the phone icon on the top left to access the pause menu, where you can save, load, or check settings. Alright. You can auto-advance text or check previous lines with that backlog button. Hey, good. Text adventure game where you can go, wait a minute, what was just said, and actually look at stuff. So that's great. Look around for points of interest you can check to investigate the area. Mashu Brand. Hello, this is my first time hearing of this game. Looks like an RPG. I wonder if I'm correct. I would say, I mean, it kind of depends. Do you consider games like Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney RPGs? It seems to be one of those. So Jared says, so you decided to do one of the Marathon Trails topics before all the bangers are out. Interesting. You'll earn credit for investigating anything and everything you can. Credit's a measure of your information gathering skills and your own credibility, so don't go broke. Oh, I like the cute little Chibi Morgan on the king card there. Alright, okay, so like Phoenix Wright, we can look around the, investigate and look at stuff. An actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum. Though museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had witnesses making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formations, blah blah blah, poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel, and all during billable hours. But there's no room to sow doubt anymore, not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording. Okay, so we have like cyborg future. Assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. So I just saw money. Let me look at the phone. Okay. Okay, well, what's this? Oh, holograms. Oh, because holograms was in purple. Alright. Hologram, noun, 3D image formed by light. Enabled by specialized projectors or mediums like conductive resin, conductive... Are we doing the Pragmata 3D print world here? Holograms are graphic displays that appear three-dimensional to the human eye when viewed from any part of a face range of at least 180 degrees, an effect known as the Watterson illusion phenomenon. Originally patented in late 2059, Watterson's phenomenon was initially used exclusively in the adult entertainment industry. That's right. If the adult industry does not adopt the new technology, it ain't taken off. Holograms did not become widely adopted as an advertising tool until the much maligned Holoday season of 2061, after which laws restricting the presence of holograms in public spaces were passed with uncharacteristically universal support. We're sorry to see that you've installed a subroutine on this device to disable and highlight our recommended premium external links. We understand your drive for personalization, but Unauthorized tech impacts our ability to serve you the best, most relevant information possible. Consider disabling your subroutine so we can serve you a more tailored browsing experience. I think Morgan has ad block on her phone. Alright, I've got 1 poker chips, I guess. Alright. Jared says, okay, Mashu says, oh, like Phoenix Wright, so it's visual. Yeah, I think it's, there's gonna be, like, investigate the scene, interrogate witnesses, probably present evidence at the right time, that kind of thing. So, mostly visual novel, but with enough gameplay to maybe consider it an actual video game. Jared says, don't know about this game, but, I'm sorry, Jared says, has to have character leveling for RPG in my humble opinion. Broadly, yeah, I'd say. Alright, let's see, The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made of the same stuff. Oh, did we get a new entry in our phone for stuff? And I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of those things with a loud sneeze. And... money! I've got 2 monies. And at least it's not broken, entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-to-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. 1 year of silver plan coverage, courtesy of, Caduceus? Caduceus? I don't know. As a reward for any... silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. Alright, let's look at our phone. Yeah, we've got 2 monies now, and we've got... conductive resin. Industrial polymer capable of programmed electrical conduction. Though it outwardly resembles plastic or glass, conductive resin is actually an electromagnetic polymer used in a wide variety of stationary portable devices where its unique properties allow it to act as both a display and a processor, enabling ultra-thin or even transparent electronics. There are upwards of 100 different patented varieties of conductive resin, each intended for different use cases, industries, and environments, but they are all fairly lightweight and fragile except for the small handful formulated for military and security applications. Because its widespread use in high-turnover products such as datapads and smartphones, producers of conductive resins are frequently accused of engineered obsolescence by consumer rights groups, though these claims have never been proven in court. Screen cracked? Schedule a fix here! So we have very intrusive horse shit going on in this future. High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishing, multiple screening stations. Pragmatic brutalism so textbook it could teach freshman level architecture. Can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angles. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago, they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built, but walking in here now with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice ward for heavy-handedness. A datapad, and we can look at our phone to learn about datapad. Can I do it while in text? Oh, I can, okay. Let's learn about datapads. Mid-sized portable electronic device for use inside local networks. The lightweight portable electronic device known as datapads have no significant internal storage capabilities and can only display what is streamed to them from local networks. Originally marketed as a replacement for ecologically wasteful newspapers, magazines, and flyers, Datapads quickly became infamous for the difficulty and the expense involved in recycling them once their limited lifetime components expired. It wasn't until they were rebranded as ideal for privacy and security that datapads found success in the private and public sector, where their ability to display location-locked content helped corporations minimize data leaks and give their advertisements targeted geographic relevance. Gracious. Today, datapads are a mainstay of high-traffic public spaces and virtual physical hybrid workplaces, despite remaining unpopular with most environmentalists and bibliophiles. Datapad, I'll bite. Oh, more money. And even when they're more advertisement than article, they can still be informative. In a flowery, roundabout corporate propaganda sort of way. Keep an eye out for articles in the environment. They offer insight on the world around you and credit towards your investigation. Okay. Let's see. Mashu says, a lot of character interaction back and forth while looking for inconsistencies in the story to expose lies by introducing evidence. Yeah, that's my impression of this. From what I gathered from quick Google, appears to be Ace Attorney clone, so gameplay is reading. Yep. Yeah, but essentially, yeah. But we played Resident Evil 4 for the last couple of streams, which was fully voiced, so I figured, let's do something where it's mostly me reading and goofing on stuff. Articles are added to your phone's reading list after you first read them, okay? Choose the proper takeaway after reading them, and you'll earn additional bonus credit, too. Oh! Oh, so there's a test. Okay. I like how this, again, I like the little chibi, playing card, the King Morgan card. I didn't pick up on it the first time, but it's got the less than 3 heart instead of a King of Hearts. It's a, king of less than... nice little touch. I think that's cute. Subway fixes acts. City to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreparably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system were being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage to sensitive electronic cabling and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super-infrastructure system that weaves together trams, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy high above our city streets. Pardon me. Reaction to the announcement could be characterized as blasé. It's been years since the subways last ran, and decades since they last ran on schedule. Most citizens have long since given up hope on them ever making a comeback. Online chatter barely reacted to the announcement, with most commenters and voters' attention focused instead on the growing investigations into Councilman Long's campaign finance irregularities. As one of the Canopy's major backers in City Hall, Long has often found himself at odds with a small but vocal group of critics that consider it to be an eyesore and an amplifier of light and noise pollution. And with Long having stepped away from his political duties in order to more fully cooperate with investigators, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the typically rock-steady political foundation of the Canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky going into this week. But with the subways now officially no longer an option, people and corporations alike have little choice for how they complete their morning commute. However, not all reactions to the news have been negative. At least a few bold individuals see this latest report as vindication and possibly even a rallying cry. Already considered by many to be a rising star in infrastructure solutions abroad, tech startup Subterra made headlines last year with their radical proposal for a system of personal submarine taxi pods that could make use of the flooded subway tunnels. But momentum stalled when their first prototype for the city came in at a disappointing 3,359% over budget. Yeah. Though one... Yeah, Brian says I checked Lou's feed and no tweets from her since December. Hope she's all right. Yeah, I've reached out to her for a few different ways and haven't heard back. So, yeah, same. Hope she's all right. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like... Did I skip a paragraph? No. Though one council member was quoted as calling their system mind-bogglingly wasteful and impractical in the extreme, in light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal for their package. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like ours have struggled to find civil engineering answers to rising sea levels and subterranean flooding that satisfy financial, practical, and aesthetical concerns. Historically, most scientists have attributed this increase in sea level to climate change, though there are dissenting voices. Water rises and falls all the time for reasons we do not fully understand, and are we too... It appears that you have 0 free articles remaining this month. Please verify your account information in order to continue reading the stories that matter. Oh god. Alright. Ballsy of them, putting the paywall there, as if I'd reach for my wallet after having to read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaway is that the city will be focusing its efforts on the canopy or Subterra. Well, it sounded like the canopy. Yay, I got money. There will be increased scrutiny surrounding the canopy now that there's no plan B. It's a massive project with a massive budget. Lines the pockets of a lot of people, big and small. None of them would appreciate bad press at the moment, not when Councilman Long's already thoroughly chummed the waters. Alright, I've taken in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. It booted up fine, so far so good. Good morning! Morgan, here for public defender contract. Could you please provide your name and... Great, please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call intake hollows charming, more like harmless. But that's probably what the designers were aiming for. People don't mind a quirk or two in their text, so long as it never speaks out of turn. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? And social security number and PIN number and address? So far, so good, was it? Let's see, scan my card or just scan my face? Speak to the card. Say, why don't you just scan my ID card? Great! Now, could you just confirm your date of birth for me? Why do they even bother asking? My birthday's on the damn ID card, and my profile. I'd have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem, my birthday's... I don't know. Is it in my phone? Oh, yeah. Profile, Morgan. December 26th. 175 centimeters. Weight is not specified. AB blood type. Criminal defense attorney. Likes puzzles, smoking, and wooden furniture. Doesn't like commercials, hairdressers, or jogging. Well, yeah, not much jogging, but occasionally I do get to pet a neighborhood cat, so, you know, give and take. Talent, can fall asleep in any position. Coffee, decaf, drink, whiskey, sour. December 26th. December 26th! Perfect. Good morning, Morgan, Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on this public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to Counseling Quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect state standards. Don't sweat it. I can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it the involuntary wellness check room if they like. Doesn't change the way it makes a person feel. Sitting in a stifled box of one-way panels. Nothing to see but their own reflection dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan, Counselor, can I help you with anything else? Choices that progress a story forward will cause other options to shrink away when selected. Okay. Choices that take the conversation down side paths will... and and before returning to this point will not. Okay, so at least we aren't going to accidentally pick an option that locks us out of seeing everything. Because of the article you read earlier, you've unlocked an additional choice in this dialogue. Yay! Read and examine at every opportunity to build up your knowledge and get the most out of every conversation. Alright. Okay, so that one, Oh, okay, so no thanks is graying out everything else, so. What are you? I'm a smart user interface proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I could send you a link with information about our subscription packages. Should I send you a link with information about our subscription packages? No. Sorry. That was a mean question to ask. So, I know the city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty? This facility is currently undergoing renovations. Since when? The 60s? It has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated. They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they? Sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered. I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix that crack? Thank you for asking. It has not interfered with my work. Well, that's all that matters, right? That'll be all, thank you. You'll find the counseling quarters past the homicide detective's office through the door to your right. Thanks. But I think it's just me for now, so could you go on break? So you could go on break if you like. Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan, counselor. Then what were you doing before I walked in? You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office. Through the door to the right. Thank you. Ads don't get breaks. They don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyway. Ryan says, yeah, tough online where so many are anonymous, making it harder to know what's going on when you don't hear from someone. Just gotta hope for the best. Yeah. I think we got a entry somewhere. Automated dependent. A legal designation for any intelligent electronic entity, abbreviated as AD, and referred to in common conversation as AD or ADS. Automated dependent is a catch-all term encompassing robots, intelligent programs, interactive holograms, and androids. ADS are present, both digitally and physically, in every industry and nation on the planet, assisting in everything from data management to physical labor. In the mid-21st century, lobbyists pushed through new tax classifications to define intelligent machines that were neither salaried employees nor mere equipment. Because it afforded tax breaks and lighter tariffs, the term became so commonly used that it spread to all branches of the robotics industry, from which point it began to penetrate into everyday speech and pop culture. Some sociologists argue that the term owes its popularity not simply to its brevity and prevalence, but to its ability to draw distinction between the commonplace, robots, androids, smart UIs, etc., and the internationally illegal artificial intelligences. Searching and artificial intelligence has a denotation that says searching for this term may incur an account flag. Read more about how we cooperate with authorities to combat disinformation here. There's the subway's abandonment article, okay. And we've got 6 monies. Eyes gone bad or something? Voice. No, voices coming down the hall. From down the hall. Prepared to yours, probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. A building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Appreciate you worrying about me. God forbid I try to be serious. While the other rings with youthful indignation. It's not like our job is important or anything. Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only 2 living, breathing people in the whole complex. Well, hopefully, aside from our client, hopefully he's still living and breathing. Well, I assume. Did they specify? I don't remember. Because why else would you bother to print all that out? One document or 100 looks the same on a data pad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand. Makes them think you know them better than their priest, their mother, their big brother. Wasn't gonna say that. So how many of these sheets were blank then? No red carpet tonight, officers? We can't say AI anymore because that term is poisoned. Yep. Stop calling it slop. It hurts our feelings. No, I'm sorry about that, ma'am. We don't keep many extra hands around at these hours. Or extra eyeballs, am I right? Yeah, 'cause okay. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyway. But mostly cheaper. You the lawyer? I am. Morgan Esquire. Pleased to meet you. Wait, did she have a full name? Okay, apparently her name is just Morgan. First or last name? Same here, counselor. Kasim London. I just saw something go... Oh, here we go. May 5th, 186 centimeters, 78 kilograms. See, he'll put his weight on there. He ain't ashamed. 78. At 100... Well, he is a pretty lean dude. Homicide detective, first class. Likes photography, dive bars, and bangs. Oh, hair. Sure, of course. What else could that be referring to? Dislikes, the sound firing a gun makes, of course. Dislikes, ties, pollen, after-hours work messages. I feel that. Listens to podcasts, pencil sketching's a hobby, and frequently running late. Kasim London. And the ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farah Reyes. Ball of sunshine. She certainly is. Ah? Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. That's no trouble. Gave me time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco? What are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me. Ahem, we're, the detectives in charge of this particular case, and it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologies in advance for any cobwebs. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouses before. He never struck me as more than just some old-timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. Sunshine is definitely a new face, though. Is that an eyebrow piercing, or is her face stapled together? Probably an eyebrow piercing. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe? 2 whole detectives working at these hours. Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene. No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes. Calls plural must have been quite the commotion. Look around. You think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong. We were only tapped after circumstances at the scene indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation. Our ongoing investigation. Not very subtle, is she? But I may as well bite at this point. So, you suspect that this client o' mine is involved in some separate criminal activity? Wait, did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put it in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy, a fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room. Isn't that a movie? Hard Eyes, that's what I'm thinking of. And it was okay, I liked it. They're making a sequel, so... And we've got the bastard dead to rights. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass this shitstorm onto some other night owl and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. Oops. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in on this heartbreak killer? They cover utilities at the rock you live under? Is there a problem? You're seriously not familiar with HK? Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name has been plastered all over the city for weeks. Their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net, everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. Right now, I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. And when it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. I take it he's a repeat offender? Was it the killer part that tipped you off? You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it, along with everything else. One bullet, straight through the heart! Da-da-da. Okay. Body left to lie where it falls, hence the name Heartbreak. Ooh, phone. Oh, well, hello. Heartbreak, don't know anything. Occupation criminal, likes killing, sure. Dislikes getting caught, yeah, favorite color, probably red. Zodiac sign, probably not into astrology. And reward, suspended due to influx of false reports. Okay. Oh, hey, Rhea's got a, October 19, 162 centimeters, 63K. A minus blood type, or well, A negative rather. Homicide detective 3rd class. Likes rice, limes, and automotive history. Dislikes liars, small plates, and cheap people. Enjoys watching product reviews. Bad at games of chance. And her right eye is Osiris. Oh, OS-Iris. She's got a mechanical eye, an operating system OS-Iris Elite 86. That's funny. Good name. The Osiris. OS-Iris. I like that. That's clever. Maybe it's Why do you have it covered then? I mean, I assume her mechanical eye... Did it say... Yeah, her right eye is... Why is it covered then? Maybe the, this world's, cybernetics aren't all they're cracked up to be. Heartbreak, not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. What you won't read about online is that all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun, without even needing to reload. I mean, if you only shoot once, then yeah, I guess. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that? It's a whole different beast. Well, I mean, how far away are we talking? Takes a certain kind of monster, a real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. I bet he kicks kittens. I see. Sounds horrific, sounds robotic. Let's go robotic, because we've got androids and stuff. You almost make him sound like a machine. Is it possible that... No, it is not. There's no such thing as killer robots, madam. Oh, do we got the laws of robotics stuff going on here? Of course, my mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling in police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky, I guess they're all firing blanks. Fair enough. Machines can kill, and they have been for decades. But they don't commit murder. Right. Evil, like Heartbreak, is all organic. Well, okay, well, maybe someone is remote controlling or programming a machine to... That's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders? Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK's 6th victim was found a few hours ago, when we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So you're convinced that my client is this heartbreak killer and tonight was just his latest crime? That's a serious accusation with very serious consequences. I take it you have serious evidence to back that up? I was being literal, counselor. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds compelling. Is that lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? It's all there in the discovery files and ARCs, of course, which is what? Alright, augmented reality crime scene. Oh, okay, so I guess we're not gonna visit the actual crime scene. We're gonna explore an augmented reality version of it. Okay. Augmented reality crime scene, abbreviated as ARCs, is an investigative tool in which data harvested by the sensors worn on first responders is used to reconstruct a digital copy of a pristine... Why is this not... There we go. A digital copy of a pristine crime scene. Programmed by and distributed by a small number of tech corporations and frequently modified or even personalized by local municipalities, the ARC system are used by every major police force, most insurance investigators, and many law firms. After its introduction in the early 2060s, the technology briefly came under public scrutiny when the independent news organization, United Mediacasters, released a series of reports claiming that ARC's data was regularly edited by corrupt officials to erase state secrets. These reports were later found to be fake, and UMC was exposed as a subsidiary of a cell corporation within Lambda Work Solutions, who were marketing a number of alternatives to ARC's technology at the time. Board members at Lambda denounced the actions of said cell and offered assistance to their former competitors in suing leadership at UMC, but the proceedings and settlements in those lawsuits remain sealed. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need. I'll bet. Thanks for that, Detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you some questions while I've got you here? The hell kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant. Come on, sunshine. Not like we're going to be punching out anytime soon, right? Whatever. Let your client stew in the interrogation all night for all I care. See, it is called interrogation. You mean the counseling quarters? We're at your disposal, counselor. Alright. Oh, I guess we're gonna look around the room. Okay, we've got something to read over here. Loose wires, missing panels, and an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shite, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. They've got a stunning clearance rate and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy, what with our dear doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork. But if your wheels don't squeak, you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget. The dumping grounds for the public force's most unambitious and least popular. Well, that's not very nice. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Reyes' desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. Is she so new she hasn't had time to unpack, or is she really that uptight and boring? Huh? Both, maybe. Is shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system, or maybe just a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper, I'll give him that. Anything else in here? Pixel hunt, pixel hunt, pixel hunt. Alright. Latest Noble androids receive warm welcome. Bolstered by a strong earnings report and surging sales of the Animate 16, Noble Electronics stock rose a stunning 3% this week to a new record high. While Noble's latest iteration has yet to surpass the sheer popularity of its predecessors, an increased profit margin has left Noble's shareholders very enthused. Many investors were skeptical when, at their now infamous 2084 trade convention, Noble announced that the 16th line would be the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components. So-called warm androids, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sectors, were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the like. And while some critics voiced concerns that fringe or religious or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial, more business-focused minds feared that Noble was alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian consumers, users that viewed their androids from across the room and not from above the factory floor. However, as has often been the case in the last decade, Noble's doubters were proven wrong. The Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records with no signs of slowing down, and many industry analysts predict that these once rare organic androids will completely replace their more robotic predecessors in daily life within the next 3 to 5 years. As described in the earnings report, much of the 16th line's success, and indeed the success of Noble's androids in general, can be attributed to the remarkable, lifelike, personable charm of their products, and by all accounts that charm can be attributed to the work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Assure. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century, said Noble brand ambassador Lucy Dees on stage at their latest Noble Industry Weekend. It's because of his Turing solution that every Noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intensive care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. While his reputation was on full display at the event, Dr. Assure himself was nowhere to be seen. He's always been reclusive, but he's become a genuine hermit in recent years. Are we really to believe he's still, "Hey fam, looks like you're not logged into this device. Want to put in your account info so we can help keep you reading?" Fam. He's in the news again. No wonder. Can't spit without it landing on a piece of Noble tech these days. Especially not where the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids, though. For government use, they're just too expensive, too frail. Too frail. They bruise and bleed and stuff. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. And what did we get? Oh, it's just the article we read. Okay. Nothing else jumps at me around here. I've got a better idea of who I'm dealing with, at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. I should have been sent a link. You've been granted access to state files regarding case KL433511. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I am an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit our users' preference. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. Capital C. It's case sensitive. C. Thank you. Here's your link. Alright, if I project from my phone, Authenticating, downloading, initializing. Okay. Augmented reality crime scene. Alright, let's see what the police have. And what they think is important. Well, I guess we should look at the body first. The victim's body. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta. Shot through the heart. And the heartbreak killer's to blame. Single gunshot wound to the heart in brief. Death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and no blood or skin under her nails. Blood splatter, forensics, and all that other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. Did I get something? What is this? Oh, autopsy report. Here we go. Time of death, 9 p.m. That's probably an important detail to remember, 9 p.m. Shot, single bullet pierced the subject's sternum, left atrium and aorta. Death was instantaneous. There's some handwriting at the bottom of the scanned document. Same handwork as previous 5 lab message to confirm ballistic match 2. Okay, so we're waiting on ballistics. Gun. The murder weapon, a revolver found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. So we have a future with robots and we're still using regular revolvers? Not like laser guns or something? Huh. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing, but all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So, he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. It's highlighted pink. Stand-up mirror shattered and knocked over. Real glass, no screens or cameras here. It was hit hard enough to come unattached from its arm, while shards of glass were scattered far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. I saw something go on the phone here. What's that? Oh, revolver. A 6-chambered 10mm revolver, well-maintained but old. Oh, well, maybe it's just an antique. Has Flat's left hand finger... Whose... I guess Flat is the, our client. Flat's left hand fingerprints on it. Left hand, huh? Okay. Got a lefty. Pieces of glass from a broken standing mirror found at the crime scene. Said mirror was a low-tech furnishing with no digital components to pull from. Hit with enough force to shatter shards of glass onto the victim's body. So... did it fall after the Vic got tossed aside at some point? And yet there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Unlike the mirror. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. That's all the big ticket items. What about the security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people their age in a neighborhood like this, but no signs of forced entry only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and... whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris? Flag is irrelevant? That's their technical assessment? Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. What did we get? An unremarkable ceramic vase found knocked over at the crime scene, weighty and sturdy. It remains featureless, and even after being tossed. So apparently... so there's no, like, blood or flesh under the victim's fingernails, so it seems like they didn't really have an opportunity to fight back. And yet the room seems to be trashed, so... weird. Did the Heartbreak Killer rob the place? Make it look like a robbery? Did someone else wander by later, find a dead body? Well, no, they said that the police responded in a few minutes, so... Debris. Ceramic debris of indeterminate origin found at the crime scene. Found on the far side of the room by the western window. Technician's note, flag is irrelevant on next pass. Right. That's everything the police highlighted. But did I miss anything? Well, I'm still wondering about the clock. Wrap it up, or... ellipses. Let's ellipsis it. Here we go. Can I move? No, I can just move the cursor. Right, can we look at the clock now? No. Whoop. Oh, little glowy bit. What the hell is that? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell did... It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and traprexazone, a synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. Someone have a prosthesis? The autopsy said her talk screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city, and it still wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Well, probably not. Everything else here is all very incriminating, but the kicker's everything that's not here. No out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs. Alright, let's see what crumbs are. Oh, well, a pill organizer. A common brand of pill organizer found in the victim's grasp contains a number of prescription and over-the-counter medications, including immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and traprexazone, prescribed to reduce moderate to severe discomfort arising from mod sensitivity complications. The case, well, okay, maybe not necessarily a missing limb, although phantom itch, they said. That sounds like a prosthesis for a missing limb or something. The case's clasps are surprisingly difficult to open. Maybe by someone with a prosthetic hand? Seems like an odd thing just to add in there. Oh, here we are. IOT. Internet of Things. Internet of Things refers to the networked data sharing that goes on between all the countless electronics that we monitor ourselves with: phones, computers, security systems, biofeedback devices, body modifications and prosthetics, and of course automated dependents, all comprise small but vital parts of this network. Without IOT's ability to collect, process, and share information, massive opportunity costs build up as individuals, governments, and private businesses miss out on the valuable insight that data has to offer. One of the coolest ways that IOT improves our lives is through usage of crumbs, small packets of data containing your own unique identifying information. Throughout your day, as your own Internet of Things devices say hi to other devices, they'll leave behind crumbs as a parting gift. Crumbs allow for paperless identification and payment, and help the government manage human and vehicular traffic. Crumbs let you see where you've been so that you can see where you should go. Want to start leaving crumbs right away? Don't worry, crumbs are enabled by default. Jesus Christ. Oh, this is great. Not interested in sponsored search results? See further with a premium account. Yeah. Oh, God. Crumbs. Nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before, but not much more. Vatra Cho 4 Rose. Whoa, there's a mouthful of a name. Hello. Funniest video game of all time. I'm enjoying the writing so far. Oh, here we go. Little bit of a delay in the scene transition, but that's all right. I'm really gonna have to sing for my supper this time. Better get start. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person who comes to mind is... I suppose it could be something important. What do you want, Mom? I'm working! Red... Currently texting with Brat. Oh, is this like a younger sibling or something? I do like the little detail of whenever Morgan's typing, the phone is kind of jiggling a little bit as she's pressing buttons. It's just a nice little detail. I like that. What, couldn't wait until morning? Good news, of course! Got a job for you! Already have a job. That's a pretty cheery way to tell me you violated parole. Former client, then? Lol, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. It's only a parole violation if you get caught. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and phishing scheme. You are really pushing the bounds of attorney-client privilege, Brat. Brian says, wow, it's like a less dystopian version of reality where corporations and the government are open about how much they control you. Yeah. Let's see. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and phishing scheme. I need you to sue my gym teacher. Not that kind of lawyer. Sorry, I was like, we're a public defender. We don't sue people on behalf of others. At least let me finish. What did they do? They made me run laps. Not illegal. Let me finish. They made me run laps, even though I said I had a stomachache. Said? Gotta be like youth endangerment, depraved indifference, or some kind of shit. Sounds like you've already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh, wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. This is my laughing so hard face. See? Oh, see? Yeah. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot and use it as a reaction. Glad you found a use case. But I'm working right now, so... Anything cool? Homicide. The coolest. Oh, cringe. Oh, okay, homicide, you're right. Homicide is very cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it Heartbreak Killer? Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Have you ever been on Reddit? Teens my age. And yeah, we can read. Did I get a... Let's see. Oh, I'm on my phone, so I can't use my phone right now. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines, old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like... Hardy B. Quaint. Yeah, and he was using like a 6-shooter. It's not Heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job, lol? You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? Oh, that's just like Ace Attorney, where the conviction rate is like 98, 99%. Because in the fictional world of Phoenix Wright, the defense attorney doesn't just have to prove their... they don't have to show the reasonable doubt. They don't have, the standard isn't reasonable doubt. It's not proving your client's innocence. It's providing reasonable doubt, proving your client's innocence, and proving who actually did it. That's the darkly funniest thing about the Phoenix Wright games. It's like, well, this proves that my client couldn't have been the killer. And the judge it's like, okay, but I mean, who was the killer then? If you can't show if you can't prove who the killer was, then, you know, we're just defaulting to your client. It's like, what kind of shit is this? You taking up Lost Cause probe nose work? Pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know, they give lit homework for a reason, right? And this homework is lit. This is borderline concerned nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. You're a sucker. Sucker. Nice phrasing, lol. Go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday. Because today is Saturday. Oh, are we saying it's after midnight? What's with the Carpe Diem shit? Do you have school on a Sunday? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. You've got school in like 3 hours. Oh, so this is, maybe we've got a 6-day school week. We school on Saturday. Shit! Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid's bad from a blood pressure. Did we get a, ARCS data. Augmented reality crime scene data from the victim's apartment. Lossless capture confirms the following. Victim was shot from the room's doorway. No unexpected DNA, crumbs, or fingerprints, and no evidence of digital tampering. Okay, I was actually looking for profiles. Little Franny didn't get a profile. Oh. Important text message, I take it? Just your typical teenage drama. So then, if you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. The conviction rate is also that high in the fictional land of Japan. Androids on cops. Ooh, hot. Oh, and you know, you read what you want. So how about the basics? What exactly has my client been charged with? Well, I would assume murder. Your client, Carlos Baker Flat, okay, so that was his name, was arrested on scene at 9:50. So, 50 minutes, what was it? Was it time of death? Is that what I'm remembering? Oh, profile. Autopsy report. Yeah, died at 9, and our client was arrested on the scene 50 minutes later. What were you doing there? If that time of death is correct, what the hell were you doing there nearly an hour later? Oh, this isn't Franny, this is Carlos. Alright, don't know what he looks like. July 8th, does he have a weird shoulder pad, or is he, like, missing an arm? Which would explain the medicines that are for, like, phantom limb stuff if his arm is gone. Can't tell silhouette, though. 189, 94, that's a better weight for that height. B negative, charge first degree homicide, criminal record, civil two counts of civil disturbance rather, just not charged. Registered at birth, modifications, industrial class 4, okay. Known affiliates pending, and psych evals pending. Where's Franny? You're arrested 9:50 using his middle name already. They really do think he's the serial killer. I didn't pick up on that, but yeah. The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, a Miss Diane Dawn. First degree, that's increasingly rare, to say the least. Rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. Said he's got damn near more cameras than people, so you gotta be really, really stupid to try and get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him? 5 times, and that makes him insane. I'm gonna go with extraordinary. Yeah, let's say split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nut jobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So, what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? Warm-up? 5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing. Alright, digital autopsy, a post-mortem examination of an individual's electronic footprint. Law enforcement process of locating, bypassing authentication on, and investigating all of the deceased individual's online profiles, commonly used to seek out possible connections to suspects or other victims. No privacy in death. The widely utilized practice has been scrutinized in the past by some privacy advocates, but many victims' families who lack the ability to find, let alone access, all of their deceased loved ones' accounts argue for its necessity. Comparable processes are offered as a paid service by some legal or funerary groups to help next of kin recover or delete sensitive personal data. At times, these services have been marketed as a defense against data criminals attempting to steal the identities of the dead before their accounts are wiped by state processes. Users also frequently searched for grave cobbling, how to stop stolen identity, how to delete dead profile. Grave cobbling. Oh, well. The victim, Diane Dawn, 27-year-old agriculture genetics researcher for Peregrine Laboratories, found shot through the heart in the bedroom of the apartment. In the bedroom? Well, I mean, she was right in front of the front. Maybe it's a studio. Bedroom of the apartment she shares with prime suspect Carlos Flat. No known connections with previous HK victims. Flat is... we don't get an age. So this serial killer chose his victims at random? They have nothing in common. Yeah, nothing in common at all, other than they all look like cousins. The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes, about the same height, comparable weight. Well, those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? If you really believe that, you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You really gonna try and tell me you don't see the resemblance? A young woman, brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from a portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think what, exactly? That Carlos Flat wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits. Then you put the shoe on the... What Sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers, capital workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on these other similar women's. What am I doing? Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. That's not the worst theory in the world, but it doesn't fit. They want to claim that these previous victims were practice runs, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event, but if that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes. On top of which, guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile, if you ask me. How was that? Alright, so we are going to talk about the timeline. I saw the... Did you murder someone in the past there, Morgan? Morgan, what the shit was that? I saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't trust much what comes out of his mouth. But we've managed thanks to less biased sources, and we're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. So, they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were... Oh, so she's taking off her eye patch to use her modified eye to do a hologram document reading or something. That seems inconvenient to constantly be taking the eye patch on and off, but anyway. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another starting at 8 p.m. An hour before she allegedly died, and... Okay. Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture tossed over, glass shattered. But things go quiet sometime before 9. Right, but the glass was on top of her, so... And then there's a gunshot. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. Scrubbers. Net scrubbing, the process of macro scraping all unencrypted data in a given time and place. Refers to the process of scouring all available data posted on the net within a certain time frame and location range for evidence for a crime, an increasingly common technique for police departments, corporate investigators, and occasionally public relations firms. While the brute force work is performed by automated dependents, either digital or physical, experienced human supervisors must establish strict search constraints in order to produce usable results. Interest in the practice spiked when Senator Bancroft positioned it as a key pillar of his party's law and order platform. But pollings indicated voters rarely held a strong opinion on the process, and the topic has since faded from political discourse. But we heard enough from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Right, emergency services got a burst of calls from the block shortly after 9. No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrived on the street at 9:08, established a perimeter, entered through the open front door at 9:10, and then they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. His hand singular? Is he missing an arm? Better be his right arm, because I think something said his left hand was covered in blood. I don't know. Blatt's coat. The coat was the coat the suspect was wearing when taken to custody, taken by lab techs for additional analysis, but initial tests show blood on the left sleeve matches that of the victim. Okay. At which point they moved to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand singular? Your client's modded cybernetic right arm. Okay, so it is his right arm. Whoops, what did I just do? Mods, body modifications. Body modifications, aka mods, is a term that may refer to cybernetic prosthetics, artificial implants, neural enhancements, or any combination of the above. While body mods have been seen throughout history and across a wide range of cultures, the modern body modification movement is differentiated by a shift from intrinsic factors, expression or identity, to extrinsic motivators, job opportunities, technological benefits, improvements in physical or mental ability. Historically, mods have been classified based on which section of the user's spinal cord the interfacing occurs at, thoracic, lumbar, or cervical. But this system does not account for mods which interact directly with the human brain. The increased prevalence of so-called above-the-neck mod... Well, I mean, your cervical vertebrae in your neck, but you know, that's the bits that connect to your skull. Modding in recent years has led to several corporate... Well, I guess it's above that, so it makes sense. Recent years has led to several corporations and medical organizations proposing their own new classification systems, but so far none have gained traction. Users also frequently search for, can you return mods? Can you undo mod surgery? Best reviewed neural implants, 2086. Sounds like there might be some unhappy customers. Let's see. How modded are we talking about here? Registered with a Heyo 85 Habilis, industrial grade, looks like. Industrial, huh? Alright, suspect's prosthetic, a Heyo Industries Habilis, 2085 mechanical limb, boasts an impressive combination of grip strength, dexterity, and low cost of maintenance. The success of it and its sister products went a long way towards securing state contracts for Heyo Industries. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 kilopascals. Is that what that is? Which means a minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. So he shot her. Okay. Heh. Considering a career change? No, it's not that. It's just, your eye must be very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had a 14-year-old sense of fashion. You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable? I actually thought the same thing the first time we met. What? But getting back on track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. He can't work without it. Money got tight. The arguing? Yeah. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before HK's first victim was killed. Well, no chance they'll be willing to chalk that up to coincidence. The client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver, and no one else's. Oh, right, it's the fingerprints from his left hand. Revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real old kind. More specifically, a Calver M54, 6-chambered, 10mm. Is that a real thing? I don't know guns. Calver M54, 6-chambered, 10mm revolver bears fingerprints matching Carlos Baker Flat's left hand with 99.91% certainty. Rifling marks match. Oh, I guess the ballistics came back. Match the bullet, which pierced the victim with 99.97 certainty. Rifling marks match the bullets from previous heartbreak killings with 99.98 to 99.989 certainty. No matches to any other archived forensic data as far back as 2051. Alright. Calver. How retro. Calver Firearms Incorporated, manufacturer of civilian firearms from 2031 to 2062. Okay, so it's not a thing, right? When it was bought out by Thortech, an acquisitions group specializing in security and national defense, now a subsidiary of the Lockheed Defense Corp. Though no guns have borne the Calvar branding since production halted in 2060, the once iconic brand was briefly revived in 2071, Q2, with a series of video game memorabilia tie-in promotions. Oh my god. Meant to increase in-game item sales before being discontinued in 2071, Q3, for failing to increase in-game item sales. Yeah, we've seen some game publishers don't do that much anymore, but back about 20 years ago, there were a few sending out some press kits with some questionable items in them, like blackjacks or brass knuckles, I think was one of them, for like a mafia game or something. I think... Didn't Halo send out condoms at some point? You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. Tags? How's that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah, 24/7 location data, timestamp, trigger pulls, safeties coded to owner biometrics for the pass for a psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update. Is my stream going in and out? Yeah, it looks like dropped a bunch of... Well, it looks like it might have had a drop here. It dropped a batch of frames there. Seems to be back where it should be. Weird. But that doesn't keep happening. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still with fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have to be over 30 years old, too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far, but now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Eh? Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig, but with the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Yeah, I imagine ballistics just aren't really a common thing to do at this point. It's like, oh, rifling? Shit, we haven't done that in like 25 years. Where was I? 6 bullets. Protocols they found, techs were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks? Bullets fired from guns that are that old are marked by the barrel's shape, so if all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks, we know that they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug-and-play as tags are, but it's equally precise science, I assure you. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber, without even needing to reload. The Calvar your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. An untagged gun. Just being anywhere near a weapon like that could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... To summarize, then, you believe that my client fought verbally, then physically with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved this weapon and shot her? Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. How was his effect? Quiet, detached, stiff. Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. He grieved wrong! That reaction may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. Alright, let's talk about heartbreak. Checking my phone here, I have to say, you've done a pretty admirable job keeping the details of HK's crimes a secret. A heartbreak killer, we encountered an issue while processing your request. Hey there! It looks like you're trying to search for a term related to an ongoing investigation. Until authorities have made their findings public, results may be heavily curated or temporarily unavailable. Read more about how we cooperate with authorities to combat disinformation here. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobatics trying to piece together a story. Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. It's not just journalists, though. All kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK's managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame them, though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are an endangered species, but he's gotten away with... We know what he's gotten away with! Take a look around us, detective. National DNA registries robust enough that cases never go cold, cameras on every street, a phone on every citizen, violent crime at an all-time low, and clearance rates at all-time highs. What? You gonna spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... Good point, haha. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off, but pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged, and that makes them predictable. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get. And we can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit and tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. And why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. Opt-in? What is this now? Optics. Opt-in crime surveillance system. The Opt-in Crime Surveillance System, abbreviated OPTICS, is a partnership program between the state and private enterprises that allows for the free sharing of surveillance and security data to better promote and preserve public safety. Accessible through state employee logins or private partner accounts, OPTICS Smart UI allows users to search through and collate footage from a city of tens of millions in just a few simple keystrokes. Optics is frequently cited in state reports as one of the most effective tools for reducing crime, and footage from optics often serves as key evidence in criminal proceedings where it is considered admissible by default. See People vs. Irwan. Users also frequently search for public safety measures in my area and daily security level. How is that even possible? I know that there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You think we'd have let him kill 6 people if we did? Well, you know. I understand your concern, man, but Optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance systems signing up to feed into the state security network. It's not perfect, just another one of the many public safety tools in our belt. It's not meant to be perfect, it's meant to help us solve crimes. Or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it. But it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved, but the end result is that there are occasional localized blackouts, and the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. I see. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So does he work construction for the city? HK's only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck, it can't possibly be coincidence. Wait, so you're saying when this woman was killed... Yeah, there was a blackout from around 8 to 9 tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. And it included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Huh. Well, what about DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's been no blood, no saliva, no suspect's DNA at any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics? Also no motives, tampering, or witnesses. It's been like hunting a damned ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon. Until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics, no matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK's the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Only reason we even caught him tonight was because he finished what he had set out to do all along. So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some X's, a few CIs. Someone even spoke to one or two unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There was talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just not enough there to work with. In other words, the only thing they have, the only thing they could have to link my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Let's talk about androids and cops. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? I thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Aren't many androids in any public police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly. They're the biggest... They're the biggest robotics corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yes, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Saves us some money on shipping at least. But these talks never last that long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month. Even with Noble pushing those warm androids? Warm. Ugh. Might as well call it the adult line. Might see him in the bigger departments or out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. Any day now. Guess we should be expecting those any day now. Maybe android lawyers, too. Get some android politicians in and we'll have the full set. Get real, people might like ads who do what they're told, but they despise ads who tell them what to do. I'm not so sure. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating, too. The union would. No, the police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Still got a police union, okay. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant. But even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly gonna have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. Oh, why's that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. Boom! Eh? Well, shit. That's, unexpected. I'm sorry, you're telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified? Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line. Why bother? The note's covered in his fingerprints. There's a copy in the discovery data, but I should warn you, it doesn't exactly make for light reading. I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Ahem. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. When I'm not in control, I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first, but I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too, but didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough. I know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. Okay, Mr. Flat is not very good at writing. Maybe he's not a lefty. Was this typed or was this handwritten? Note. Oh, okay, but there you go. A note handwritten in barely legible script. Anything else there? That's the whole thing. Okay. It was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, got a spin on that. No need. But it's a confession. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it? Not yet. And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer and got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. I just happened to be awake when the call went out. But I'm not so flush with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he? Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to that man being responsible for 6 murders. Yeah, well, I'm not a brunette, so... 2 hours or so in cuffs isn't cruel or unusual, and that's for your safety as well. Well, kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. Camera's off, if you don't mind. Mic's on or off is your call, counselor. But we'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuffs? Well, the cuff, that is, stays on. That worried about me? How chivalrous. Yeah, my armor's practically blinding. Gross. We'll start up the unlock cycle. Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I'd suggest you help him sign that confession. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. Well, okay, that answers that question. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective. I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror and public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty's not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not gonna like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's being challenged before the Supreme Court. Yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe. Let's see what this is all about. We encountered an issue while processing your request. Hey there! Due to ongoing controversy following the suspected suicide of inmate Jay Galley, search results for this term are temporarily blocked. Read more about how we cooperate with authorities to combat disinformation here. Goodness. Just remember, a plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right? Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty, that much is true. It saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing, but no one will ever be grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. Alright, 3:35 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Okay. Okay, do we get his picture in the profile now? Not quite. Okay. Well, I mean, his name's still question mark, so... It's depressing as hell in here! They need to liven this place up. Okay. Carlos Flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover, but this shouldn't take all night. What are you... look, I already told you, people. I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. Your lawyer, in fact. And I'm here to help you. Yeah, well, they said that too. All of them did. Back there and here, kept repeating it the whole ride over. They said that they were going to help me, that they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed, acting like they were on my side, and they thought that I could have, that I... That's not their job to help you, Carlos. But it is mine, and I'm here now. He's still in shock. I need more information, but if I approach this the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak, but I'd like you to try and answer a few questions. The police already questioned you, I'm sure, but they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client. Okay. So what do you want to know? Well, let's talk about you. Let's start simple. Something mundane, grounded, rote. I'd like to know a bit about you first, Carlos. Something like, what line of work are you in? That's still blacked out. Oh, weird. Is that your phone on the table there? I'm with City Engineering. Or I was, or I should be. As I thought, the police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from work. My arm, I got it slotted for the job. And, Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So, what do I know? Works in City Engineering, not a desk job. Reyes said he was modded for work, and that arm must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it'd have to be pretty utilitarian or life, I'd say utilitarian. Money! Utilitarian, yeah, he doesn't strike me as the type who's enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and the restless and the rich swapping in neon and chrome limbs because they like the way it looks. Or the way it makes other people start looking at them. No, he's a pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod. Really? Really? I don't even have a brother. He had everything planned out, a whole career path of promotions and bonuses and the upgrades they'd afford him. Then came his 18th birthday present, test results politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate. That sucks. I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad that he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I think it does. I always figured if I'd start at all, I'd start small, a hand or an eye, and test the water. Never thought about lobbing my whole damn arm off, but the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said, because of the NCDA, there was financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit-canned, so now me and every other modder is royally screwed. Couldn't even let me keep the tax credit. Now, the New Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed, but I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at this point. At the moment, rather. I work the tighter spaces, the high-voltage environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, you know? He's speaking freely now, don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep him talking. But the right word choice here or there can still make a difference. You work on the canopy. You must be strong, good with heights, under a lot of pressure. Yeah, probably the pressure thing. You must be under a lot of pressure now that the subways are cordoned off. That was the right one. Damn Skippy. And this crap with Long. Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain became terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that internal affairs is going to come knocking if they misplace so much as a paperclip. Everything by the book means no room for compromise, no room for problem solving. No room for engineering? Yeah. And no patience for screw-ups. He's trying very hard not to look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Yeah, that. Rejection issues starting last month. So the victim had his pill organizer in her hand? A lot of sleepless nights. I mean, unless she's a mod too, but I don't think we read anything about that. Rejection? Did the therapy not take? Mods, therapy, body mod therapy. The process of adjusting the human mind and body for the unique challenges and stresses that come with the cybernetic body modifications typically includes physical therapy, mental technique instruction, and sensitivity training. Depending on an individual's viability, or lack thereof, medications and even minor viral tuning may be employed to modify the body's immune response, but improvements made in recent years in medically sterile alloys have greatly reduced the percentage of the patients that require such treatment. It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything. Then, do these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars? But not in the way you're thinking. Eh? You're right-handed? Doesn't mean he can't shoot with his left. But it said that the pill bottle was, you know, difficult to open, so she was, like, trying to open a pill bottle for you and you shot her? That seems kind of weird. So those cuts on his face are just from shaving? Never thought this would go on so long I'd have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, the problem started small, trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity, they said, an easy fix. But the problem got bigger. Couldn't let it get that far. Need to be able to trust your own hands when you're on the job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down, made an appointment, turned in my arm, and watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line. Where'd you turn it in? Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't. Doesn't sound like you're a happy customer. Hell no! I found a dozen other clinics with shorter wait times. But as long as I'm renting and not owning, the manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. Yep. Alright, Flat's prosthetic. Had the boasts impressive grip strength, dexterity, low-cost maintenance. Success of it and assist product long stage contracts for submitted 5 weeks ago at the How Partnered Prosthetic Adjustment Clinic. Average waitlist duration of 40 business days due to user-reported sensitivity issues. Yikes. Right. That's why I'm sitting here with this expensive-ass stump for a shoulder. I haven't been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I've got 2 working arms again. You couldn't buy or rent a replacement yourself just in the meantime? I serve at the pleasure of the state, and they've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi all locked up white-knuckle tight. Hindi? How Industries? As I recall, he's registered with one of their Habilis models. If I took one step on site with uninsured tech, forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. And I'd never work in the city again. If this was last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with management, but like I said, no one's sticking their neck out for anyone now that Long's in deep hot shit. You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain? Pain will come and go, it's the itches that'll kill you. And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything. Oh, looks like, some profile updated. Might be his picture now. How Industries is the world... And How Industries... How Industries, the world... did I just... Yeah, I just read that. Yeah, there's his pic. Alright, he likes airports, worn shoes, and firm beds. Doesn't like cabs. You don't like musicals? You schmuck. Doesn't like cashews either. Favorite flower is the poppy, and his student debt is sizable. His luck is poor. Yeah. Phantoms, that's what it was. Okay, phantom pain. Pain or discomfort that comes from brain that the brain experiences as coming from an amputated part of the body. When stimuli stops coming from a part of the body that is no longer there, the areas of the nervous system that were previously devoted to processing those sensations reconfigure themselves to still be of use. Occasionally, the brain mistakes this as the new sensory processing as still being associated with pain or sensation from the amputated limb. Because of the large mental element at play, therapy for phantom pain reduction necessarily involves psychological conditioning and often the use of prosthetics. Phantom pain has become more widely experienced and understood as a result of the spread of body modification movement. I slurred my words there. Debate over whether the modern scene has increased or decreased public empathy for amputees and the disabled remains contentious. Did you mean phantom visions? Phantom visions are caused by faulty insulation on cybernetic eye mods, resulting in periodic electrical discharge across the retina. Ow. Schedule a consultation immediately if you suspect this applies to you. Users also frequently search for "My mod hurts," "Mod are itching," and "Is my arm haunted?" When I don't have an arm-shaped attachment to me. Didn't they give you something to, well, wear in the meantime? Something the clinics lend out for cases like this? What they gave me is a dead-weight, three-jointed landfill bait piece of shit. Sorry, it's a very shitty feeling having a part of your body that you know they cut corners on. It fits, it's compatible technically, I can slot it in and feel on balance again, but the fingers don't even bend and the quick twitch motors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep or dead. So you were wearing it when you were arrested? Were you wearing it when you were arrested? No, I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so... The prosthetic limb is an affordable model. Customers frequently cite issues with finger articulation and quick twitch movements. Records show Carlos Flat was provided this model while his habilis is being repaired, but he claims to rarely wear it, currently in police custody. Can't have gotten too far. So, Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm only because at the time in question, he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up as well as can be expected. But this has all just been a warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other? Right, I've known her since college. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends, always got along. Eventually we just got together at some point. Guess I never actually asked her out the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying it out loud. Diane, she was in genetics, focused her studies on agriculture. It always takes them a few tries to get used to past tense. Just finished her post-grad work this year. Got hired right out of the gate, practically headhunted. Do you believe that? Practically headhunted. And of course she was. Any company'd be lucky to have her, unlike... It's a real-ass job. Paid real-ass money, too. So her career was starting to pan out. Right as yours had fallen into the mother of all slumps. So I shot my meal ticket. Where was she hired? Pedigree? No, Perigee Laboratories. I say that like the name matters. The whole setup's under Harco's umbrella. That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows a third of the soybeans and corn in the entire country. One client that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no corporation earns the mega prefix without being without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about as tame as big business can get. Predictable, like the seasons, no one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job? Yeah, they loved having her there. She never mentioned arguments or disputes, corporate politics getting rough. I don't think so. Not like I've been a good listener lately, but I never got the impression that she... Look, no one I know could do this to her, and there's nothing she could have done that would deserve what happened to her. It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle the detective's suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful. It was? Now I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight. Oh. Start at the beginning. Take your time. The details are important. Alright, Miss, Morgan. I'll try, Morgan. When you're ready. We were arguing. We had been arguing a lot lately. Arguing about stupid stuff. Haven't been working, haven't been making money, haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself, but more than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous of her nothing. Jealous of her goddamn money. The reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m. 8? Yeah, must have been when we started. We got into it, and I said a lot of things that I shouldn't have, and said one thing that I really, really shouldn't have, and I crossed the line, and we both knew it, so I left. You left? Yeah, walked out the front door, thought some fresh air might help cool me off. Let me figure out what to say to make up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh, just humid, thick like mud. And while I was pissing away the time, Diane was... Did you bring your phone with you, or any other electronics? No. I kind of stormed off, didn't even take my key fobs. Didn't even lock the door behind me. Well, with optics down, traffic and street-level cameras won't help them. That leaves... Did you go through a checkpoint, or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything, cash or credit? No, not even a vending machine. Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's, quite unfortunate. I just wanted quiet at the time. Wanted to wallow in it, really. Sorry if I don't have all the details straight. My head is... But if my exact route would help, the cam's probably... What? What is it? Optics were what? Can that even happen? And there's no other proof that you were out at the time Diane was killed. Meaning you've got no alibi. This can't... Listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't... Carlos. I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with. Right. Now, you said you left to clear your head, so what made you come back? I came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. Didn't know what it was, but it was loud and it scared me. And it came from the direction of our apartment. I was walking back at first, but at some point I must have started running because when I got back I was so out of breath. And when I saw that the front door was open, something dropped in my chest and my lungs wouldn't... You live on the first floor, right? Yeah, first floor apartment, street-facing entrance. We were proud of that when we first moved in, like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway I saw her, but I didn't realize. I never thought that she was... Lights were off, the whole room was a mess. I thought we'd been robbed, or she had fallen, or there's broken glass, furniture knocked over. And she was... I called her name and she didn't move. I checked her pulse and she was still warm, her blood was warm, and I saw the gun. It looked so heavy, but I thought it had to be fake because I didn't want it to be real. Is that why you picked it up? What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. I didn't shoot her, damn it. Doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies. Bad lies, especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie. But it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive. And none of this works if he doesn't trust me. Stay up to date on the details of all evidence by checking your phone! Your clients notice that you don't... If your clients notice that you don't know what you're talking about, they'll stop giving you any credit. Can't have that. We're in this for the money, Carlos. I mean, we're definitely... Your well-being is at the forefront of our mind, buddy. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact, and we know because your prints are on it, buddy. Your prints, you were found with it. It's registered to you. It's your prints. It's a fact your fingerprints are on that gun. What? But I didn't do this. I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I was just... Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all. Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun? Well, I mean, it is pretty old. That explains how his prints got on the gun. Not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, if all he did was hold the gun. So stupid. I know what a gun looks like, but seeing it in my own home, right in front of... You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. The police came in sometime after that. I don't remember much of what they said. Things started moving fast, it seemed like. The rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect. Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying that you were saying that you two never had a physical fight? What? Physical? We never fought. We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did? They assumed as much, which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos has told me, what else did they assume? What is it? I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene. Oh. It's an AR module built from data taken as the police entered, so... Right, it's just data, Carlos. No grisly details. Okay. Let me see it. Take your time. Do-do-do. Skibbly-doo-wah. Bop-bop-bop. Okay, that's enough time. Okay. Alright, I think I've got it. That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes. Think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus on what's out of place. Alright. That's not closed, Carlos. That's heavily lidded. I'll take notes. You just say whatever comes to mind. I don't remember exactly where everything was. But, well, the mirror was upright, of course. And that clock was still on the wall. The chair got knocked over at some point, and the bed got tossed, the cushions torn, and the urn fell. Other than that... Well, and Diane's body, and... No, sorry, that's all that stands out to me. I see. Like so? That's good, Morgan. Looks really good. Your notes are great. Ah, shit. What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. It's just, I cannot wait to be in court and present this as evidence. That's going to be great. It's just, I guess I just assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR. Well, I suppose that works too. Sorry, I didn't mean what just hit our phone. Alright, Carlos's testimony on the state of the crime scene when he left... the hand-drawn note's still okay. The mirror was upright, clock was on the wall, the chair got knocked over, the bed got tossed, and the cushions torn. I think your drawing was pretty good, considering... I'd like to change subject now, Carlos. Right. Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk. Letter? What do you mean? I mean this letter here. Do you recognize it? Because the police are calling it a confession. A confession? But this is just a note to self. Pardon? Look, when we fight, I lose my temper, say things I don't mean to. So this morning I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I could apologize to her instead of just fighting with her. Carlos, you say in the note that you hurt them. That's... I broke her fidget tubbies. Can I have a phone entry on that, please? Her what? Her what? Her fidget tubbies. They're these collectible ceramic character things. Oh, is that pile of ceramic debris in the corner of the room? They're supposed to be like tactile. You use them as paperweights or conversation starters. You know, conversations that start along the lines of, what the hell is that? Conversation starters? She loved those little things. They're not worth a damn. You can buy them at any flea market or garage sale, but they meant a lot to her. And I broke them. Oh, hey, we got our entry. Fidget tubbies! Collectible and fragile ceramic conversation starters. Now, the victim's personal collection was pulverized by Carlos Flatt's replacement prosthetic arm the morning of the murder, evidently an acquired taste. Did he like try to handle them with his glitchy arm and crush them? Did I check the note a little bit too early? Let's see where the dialogue is. And I broke them. I mean, I was pissy at the time, but that goddamn piece of shit rental arm, I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. Got so angry I just ripped it off and tossed it in my room, that cheap, dusty, worthless... Okay, let's say he did break her Frigiduckies with his replacement arm. What does that change? And what just hit my phone? Records show Carlos Flatt was yep, discarded it in frustration after smashing into the victim's collectibles and hasn't worn it since. Currently in police custody. Oh, wait a minute. For rental use only. Didn't he say something about, like, the fingers weren't jointed, or... Nothing at the moment. Doesn't change anything. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it. But if the police insist on claiming it's a confession for the heartbreak killings anyway... Couldn't even bother to sweep them up. I felt so... Alright, Carlos, thanks for answering my questions. Now I'm going to call the police back in here and I'm going to get this cleared up for you. What? That's it? That's it? Oh, okay. Although, before I do that, I do have to ask... What do you know about the Heartbreak Killer? A heartbreak? You mean that psycho that was trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess. I haven't been getting out much, but I'm sure everyone's on edge. A guy like that out there, he shoots people through the heart, right? Police have kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news sources, so unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend. I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that's just... That doesn't mean anything, does it? Now, if he's this slow on the uptake, it's going to be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. And I'll just have to squash that theory as quickly and definitively as possible. 4:04 AM, June 5th, 2086. I didn't realize you could smoke in here. Are we missing a texture for the cigarette smoke, or is that a stylistic thing? I'm I'm honestly not sure. Vatra Chopros, just stylized. I mean, it works, but like I could totally go either way on that. Um, huh. Didn't realize you could smoke in here. Technically, I can smoke wherever I want. A rumph. For a fee. Code 9 something. Anyway, I guess so. Nervous? Don't be. What she's saying is like they could write me a citation or a ticket or something, but yeah, I'll pay it. Whatever. I get the big public defender buck, so it's fine. Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock. Right. I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this. No, of course not. But it will be my first homicide defense, though. Oh. She put her jacket back on. Why? I think she had her jacket off in the previous scene, so... Why does everyone always think the first time's so goddamn important? Hey, cheer up. I've got relevant experience in other areas. Oh. And, what areas are those? You ever gamble, Carlos? No, ma'am, I never... With the luck this guy has, it's probably a good choice. I never go anywhere near loot boxes. Which are gambling. Even Carlos knows that. Won't touch the stuff. I meant more like playing cards. Oh, well, no to that too. I've actually got pretty terrible luck. As you might have noticed. Could have fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win. Which makes things pretty fun. Okay, so, do you have a good poker face? Poker face? I like to think so. And are you lucky? Only when the stakes are high. Of course, the stakes are yours, Carlos. I ain't really got... I get paid either way, so... You know, it's pretty stress-free for me. And, in this metaphor, we're playing poker and the state's the dealer. If only. Now, the state's more like... the house. You mean like the house always wins? Yes. They're very good at it. Winning, I mean. That's why they're up there, and we're down here. That's why they're the house. So, what do? We play the cards we're dealt as best we can, win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually, someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear, and throw us out of the... and we'll be politely asked to leave. That doesn't sound very triumphant. Yeah, but at least you're out of the casino. The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose. Thanks, Morgan. But I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say? Just leave all the talking to me. So that's a strategy. Yeah, you'll just botch it, Carlos. What's up? You know, there's a saying about gamblers with strategies. Yo, ready to confess yet? Brian says, had to go AFK a bit. Comments will be coming in delayed while I catch up. Okay. Because I already woke up the DA. Already? She must be new. The district attorneys have final say in whether or not a case is brought to trial. Only fair, since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them, prefer simple guilty pleas over long protracted trials, and they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately, then, you'll have to call them back, because my client is not guilty! And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here. Right! Dynamite drop in flat, thank you. What she said. You got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generations, I get. We're the same age, Reyes. Before my time, kind of thing. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective. Counselor, we have your client's written confession. His written confession. Yes, let's start there. Okay, well, we'll be happy to. Reyes, chill. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts, what's already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. It's pretty simple, Counselor. Real... the shit is that? Real paint-by-numbers stuff. See, we found a note at his apartment. See right there? Note. Oh, is this a poker thing where we're playing the... Jesus, what is it called? The river, the turn, and whatever the fifth one is? Something like that? I think I see what we're doing here. That's fun. I mean, you know, we had that little... the Morgan King playing card thing on the tooltips, so... Yeah, that's thematically appropriate. That's nice. And the poker chips that we've been getting for stuff, so... Alright, alright. We found a note at his apartment with his fingerprints on it, apologizing for how he hurt them all so bad. Now, how are you planning on spinning that? Those are the facts. But I've been building up my hand all night. And now I've got the weapons to answer anything they try and throw at me. Well, my client did write that note, and it was an apology. But not for murder. He was apologizing for the Teletubbies. Analyze the facts as they're laid out, then review the responses in your hand! Select the card that best answers the argument and place it into the slot on the right. You can mouse over your opponent's portrait for... Well, I'm using a controller, but for your opponent's portrait for a reminder on what key point you're answering. Oh, is the dialogue... previous dialogue list kind of locked out at this point? Well, yeah, the bottom right UI is different, so... Mouse over the opponent's for a reminder on what they're saying. Can I do that with the mouse? No, I can only... I mean, with the controller? No, it's the mouse, too. He wrote a confession. Yeah, that's a nice little touch in case you just... It's like, wait, what the hell am I answering? What are we doing here? Alright, notes, prints, debris, ceramic crap near western window, revolver, murder weapon linked to 5 other crimes, Flat's fingerprints. So. He wrote a confession. That was for this ceramic crap. He was simply apologizing for this! The hell is that? I found myself asking the exact same question. Their conversation started. What are we looking at here? Something from the crime scene? This diagram of the room, it's created from data you captured, right? Pure, non-GMO augmented reality crime scene data, yeah. What's non-GMO? Not much these days. Notice anything out of place? Yeah, the whole room's full of busted shite. It's the scene of a murder. Full of busted shite for sure. But I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room. The hell is that? Ceramic debris, huh? Must be from the vase that got tossed. No, the vase is in one piece. Actually, that's not possible. Oh? Because that vase... It is a fake! Wasn't damaged, wasn't here. Was not damaged. Can I actually access my trick? Oh, I can. Okay, well that's good. So, if I didn't remember, I could go look at the... What are these? Fidget tubbies, that's what they're called. Vase. Unremarkable vase, weighty and sturdy, featureless even after being tossed. Right. Where was I? Wasn't damaged. It's not possible for that debris to have come from the vase? Because that vase is still pristine. How is that? How is that possible? Game? Oh, there we go. The lady at the garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it, the one time I try and thrift shop on my own. Well, so what? What does it even matter? If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it, then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote that apology over. You're saying that confession was his apology for not vacuuming? I am. Because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of Fidgy-Bob. Fidgetack. Fidget Tubbies. Yeah, what he said. I love how the Fidget Tubby theme song plays for half a second. That's a fun touch. What he said. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident. And this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology. And this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting an apology. Yeah. Can you prove that? We're taking this seriously, as much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. And we can all plainly see that there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't have come from the vase, it must have come from the collectibles, those things. Simple, right? The hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed, as the arcs clearly shows. Those fidget tubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. You really gonna claim he sat down to write her an apology for breaking her toys after gunning her down? It's a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Well, I mean, his arm's been gone for the, his arm broke him and his arm's been gone for a while. No, that's the temporary. Murder weapon linked to 5 other crime. Nope. Where's the... oh, it's left and right, it's not up and down. Okay. Stiff and unyieldy, a dusty fidget-tubby slayer in police custody. Found in Flat's room, his shaky handwriting expresses a lot of guilt. What are we, They broke during the shooting. No, it was the rental arm. Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody. Ah? One swipe of your fingers should show exactly how devastating it was to the Fickle Buddy ecosystem. It's fidget tubbies. Whatever. You did take it into custody. I'm sure your techs found ceramic debris on it. Yes? Well, now that you mention it. Fine, whatever, he broke them with his arm. While he was killing her, happy? Overjoyed, because even a cheap arm's got an operating system that had logged the last time it was worn, right? Right. See, I happened to spot a footnote on the lab report, said that rental hadn't been used since the AM. Whose side are you on, old man? Justice! It's gotten pretty late, sunshine, just trying to save us all some time where I can. Well, thank you for your service. Well, thank you for your service. Are you seriously buying this crap? Just look at how scrawled, how panicked that note is. Yeah, he's not left-handed, Reyes, sorry. You expect me to believe he was that upset over a fidget tubby collection? One that hasn't even been graded? Setting aside Detective Reyes' surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to collectibles, is that in her, she likes rice, limes, and automotive history. Okay, so nothing about her in collectibles or anything. But she does like product reviews. You're correct. They held no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be so shaken over their loss. But so what? So what? After all, that's not panic you're seeing on that page. No. The only reason that note looks the way it does is because Carlos is sensitive, is an engineer, is a doctor. He's right-handed. Because Carlos is right-handed! Yes, I am. Thank you, Carlos. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be on my permanent record or something? I don't know. Is it in your profile? No. So the reason why the note looks like Asylum Wall scribbles is just because he had to use his left hand to write it. Imagine how accurately he pees. At least he puts the lid down. I tend to think better writing than typing, and I need to get used to using my left anyway. I just thought it could be good practice. Taking that into account, alongside the ceramics, your slam dunk confession is looking about as watertight as a fishnet. Something that is, in fact, not watertight. It's a terrible fucking fishnet if it's watertight. Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You've established that your client's remorseless. Now let's get back to the reality of the situation. Here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood. Right next to a big old goddamn gun that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it. That's right, that coat is... What, you gonna claim it's not his? That he actually wears an extra small? She's trying to bait me in her typical low-key fashion. As the arguments flow, you won't always have the stronger hand. Okay. Sometimes the best you can do is hold your tongue and avoid overcommitting. Oh, so can we fold a hand, so to speak? Try to lose as little credit as possible while you wait for a more favorable chance. Okay. She must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, detective? I'm just curious. What'll it be next? You gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small? Oh, stay and raise. Okay. He doesn't... We can stay, or... How do I get over to raise? Oh, that's not even an option. Oh, okay, we're tutorializing. That's fine. Hi, Lady Justice. Who's holding a machine gun? I like the sensor bar over her eyes rather than the typical blindfold. That's fun. Alright, so we will stay. He doesn't wear an extra small. An XSS. Oh, okay, that's fine. Gee, Carlos, do ye? No? Yeah, there's sure there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention? There's no evil twin. No, afraid not. Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime? Now, to prove his innocence, I will need to get there eventually. But going there now, without hard evidence? We can raise at this point, but I can prove a third party. I don't think we can. So, can't prove a third party. Tappity tap. I have no evidence of a third person at this time. Damn right you don't. It's clear as day in the arcs. No evidence of anyone but Carlos being there that night. So keep dreaming. It was obvious she had something there. I wasn't going to win that hand either way. But at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. So I guess your poker chips are like your health bar? Okay. We're not contesting any of that, detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. Cigarette smoke was stylized on the title screen too, says Brian, so I assume it's intentional both there and in-game. That makes sense. I'd have to take another look at the title screen. Yeah, she is leaning against a window smoking, I think. So, yeah, okay. They do the same thing in both places. That's probably a stylistic choice. And not one I disagree with. I just could see it both ways. Holding the gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene. Which was not smart. Hey. But not illegal either. And that's all? He had her blood all over his clothes. Yes, he did. Right. Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way? The lab finished with them a while ago. What are you getting at? It'll be easier to just show you. Do you mind getting them for me? Powder burns? You know what? Sure, I could use the fresh air. Stinks of bullshit in here anyway. Oh, well, those are my patented bullshit cigarettes. And here I thought the room smelled like... Morgan! What are you doing? My coat's covered in her blood. I remember that much. So doesn't that, like, make me look really bad? Just relax, Carlos. Enhance your calm, John Spartan. Go with the flow, man. I'm pretty sure that's impossible. You're innocent. And that means that having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you. Unless it's, you know, planted or forged evidence, and that's probably not going to be great. Really? Of course, if we discover it's planted or forged, that, you know, can introduce a lot of doubt. Really? Not really. Plenty innocent people in prison. People with bad luck, like Carlos, or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing. What was it that reminded me of? Alright, here it is. One bloodstained jacket, fresh from the lab. Alright, let's see what the goat's blood on sleeve, no other details of any forensic significance found. Like, powder burns? Is that where we're going? So what's your angle? You gonna tell us this is just hot sauce? Give it a lick, you tell me. No. That would be silly. She actually thought it over. So what the hell's your point? Let me think of a point real quick. Hey. Sorry, just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune. What good fortune? You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. I mean, probably. I mean, I guess he could have shot her and then put it on and then poked at her, I guess. Seems unlikely, I admit. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart by a gun that happens to be an old-world pre-tagging firearm. And so this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. Is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense? Sense happens to be the key here. Sense of smell! I just need to draw their attention to what you can smell on the coat with your nose, what you can feel on the coat with your hands, what you can see on the coat with your eyes. I guess it would be smell. Well, that was my first shot, so... Smell! Just do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. Your bullshit cigarettes. I don't smell anything except dried blood. Exactly. Oh, I got money. That must have been good. The coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of gunpowder. Cigarette. That's what I've been smelling. is Morgan, is Morgan one of the last few smokers of cigarettes? Yeah, it's nice that we live in a future, at least, where it's cigarette smoking, it seems to be pretty rare. Yes, Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation, please? I've been listening. You wanted me to smell the jacket. If you would. Let's see. Huh. No gunpowder. What? What about gunpowder? Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time. Can't be more than a few years older than me. But not before your partners, it seems. See, gunpowder's weak by today's standards, but it's still volatile stuff, hard to store, prone to misfiring. And when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. The hell is she talking about, London? Modern firearms like the ones we carry use electricity, magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves. Fun. They've got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise. Oh, that's... okay, so that's why the gunshot was like, what the hell is that? And they don't leave behind any residue. Gunpowder residue? You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces. But a revolver like this one? It'd leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days. So then, his coat... well, if you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they had found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it. Well, whatever. That just means he washed off after shooting her, or he changed his clothes. No, I don't think I'll continue giving her like a valley voice. That's not impossible, but it would be pretty pointless. Ah? His jacket and his left hand were blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through all the effort to get rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue? Just to get the victim's blood all over himself afterwards? Think, McFly, think! Is that too old a reference? Do I have to do think, Mark? Think? Do I have to do the Invincible reference? Can't use Back to the Future anymore. It's too old. I'm too old. In light of these details, I'd like to formally request that you consider the charges Mr. Flat is facing as soon as possible. Whoa. They're faltering now. Should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them. But that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So, if it looks like he never actually fired the gun, I'll admit, things were a little dicey there at times. But once I was able to grasp the situation, the smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall I'd say... Did she get a message? Wait, did they actually manage to find it? Something you'd like to share with the rest of the class, Detective Reyes? You're good. Thanks. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you. Thanks. But your luck just ran out. Can I get a witness? Because the net scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting. And right now... There was one active camera in a blackout? What? I'm staring at a photo of the killer. Nani? Wanna bet? A photo of the shooter. If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's just pulling this out of her arse. She's got something from the scrubbers. Yes, she must have something... She must be bluffing. No, I'm gonna go with Morgan's intuition here. She's got something. Tappity tap. Not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish that there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Sure there was. But this isn't from the hell was that? This isn't from optics. Good thing I held my tongue. I lost my money! Should I have raised? Or would I have lost more if I raised? As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from outside the network. Which means... Oh, maybe someone was walking by with, like, a augmented eyeball, like Reyes or something. Party's over, counselor. Feast your eyes on this! Well, that could be anybody. Let's see, left hand, death is supposed to be at 9. Find a quarter needle of evidence and a whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? Carlos, you are super unlucky, my man. No, with the scale their tools operate on, I guess the chances are, as always, in their favor. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst-case scenario I envisioned. You could even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are... Well, it's a little bit, blurry. Don't look at me, I didn't take the damn thing. Technically, no one took it. It looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone, probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting. Oh, so this is through a window, I guess? Those are the horizontal blinds or something? Did we have Can I get back into the arcs thing? I don't think I can. But if their phone was on, its camera would be... Oh, always on camera, huh? That's lovely. So we managed to get this shot through the window. Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra-low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted, and so compressed it looks like it's from another century. There are tools that could enhance this image any further, and I could count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image. And there's no way in hell you could get this past a judge. Yeah, you're probably right, we couldn't. But I think I know a DA that could. Either way, doesn't seem like your client's leaving this police station anytime soon. That photo. What the hell is happening to me? Think I know a DA that could? Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot. What just hit my phone? Okay. Data recovered from an unknown citizen's phone camera at the time of the shooting. Because the camera was not set to photo mode at the time, the amount and quality of visual data available was severely limited. File markers for post-capture multi-spectrum image enhancement indicate that the photo has already been cleaned up as best as possible. And who do we know who had their left-hand fingerprints all over that gun? You're referring to my client? You think? We've established he wasn't wearing his modded arm at all tonight, so he must have shot with his left. Yes, and we've also established that he's weak with his left side. The left side that had no gunpowder whatsoever. Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain, and when you finally get where you were going, you somehow end up dry. Do you, though? But that doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which is to say, before judge or jury, photographic evidence outweighs a failed sniff test. Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent. That photo is real. If both are true, that means that photo doesn't show what it appears to show. So, at a loss for words? Never. I'm very verbose. Ceaselessly verbose. I'm just confused about one thing. Where was this photo taken from exactly? Exactly? Positional data is usually only accurate to the nearest public router. If we DNon the phone's owner and ask them where, why bother with any of that? Ballistics and common sense tells us the perp shot from the room's doorway. The front entrance of the apartment faces to the south. There's a hallway that runs back to the bedroom. Front entrance faces south, hallway... Okay, yeah, horizontal blinds. Looking at the... yeah, horizontal blinds, alright. The front entrance of the apartment faces to the south. There's a hallway that runs back to the bedroom. We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious that this was taken from across the north window. What just hit my phone? Bird's eye view of the crime scene is discovered by the police, captured within their ARCS system. Shows the northern window facing the southern hallway where the shooter stood. Shows the eastern window facing the eastern wall. Or the western window facing the eastern wall. It's going to be the reflection, isn't it? It was actually shot from, or the photograph is from the other window, looking at the mirror, which was standing up in the, I guess, the corner at the time, reflecting the shooter in the doorway, who was actually right-handed. Haha! From the north. This is from the north, and we can, then why can we clearly see the... It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must live on the other side of the street. So we're looking into the bedroom from the north window. She's wrong. I should seize on the opportunity to start turning the tide. Right, she's right. Photo taken from the north. No, the photo was taken from the west! Oh, that's cute. I'm afraid that's simply not possible, detective. This photo has to have been taken from the west! What kind of bluff is that supposed to be? The good detectives are misinformed here, and I need to take advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. The hell do you mean this was taken from the west? The autopsy tells us the victim was shot from the doorway. Your officer's ARCS data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now your photo has shown us the exact moment of the shooting. And you can now... oh, you can now raise the ante on a hand up to the current max. Answer wrong and you'll lose more credit. But answer correctly. And you can bank up more credit for trickier hands down the line. And all together, that tells us this photo must have been taken through the west window. As long as you consider the mirror. Or the clock on the wall, maybe? Victim's blood up. No. Oh, yeah. See, the clock is over by the mirror. It's not on the... It's not on the by the door. Mirror was upright, clock was on the wall, cushions in bed were neat. And that damn vase again, and the revolver, and... okay. This one. Oh. Okay. We're gonna bet the max. Almost missed that. My microphone is sitting kind of on the right corner of the screen, so I almost didn't see the little betting meter on the bottom right. Just take one look at the clock in that photo. The clock? What about it? The clock, huh? Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I could pounce on it to keep my tempo high. This photo was taken right before the shooting, so... Wait. Don't tell me the time of death is wrong. No. He's right, the time of death could be... No, time of death is right. Time of death is right. Right? 9... Yeah, because that's not a... That's just the clock on the wall. It's not a reflection of the clock, so it's not like... And she wouldn't have been shot at 3 anyway, so yeah. Yeah, the time of death's correct, I think. That's a good question, Detective London. But the answer is no. Money! The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree the time of death was 9 p.m. Right, no mistake in that. So then what the hell were you on about? There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style. And it reads 9 o'clock. 9 p.m., the time of the shooting. The hell's so special about that? Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but... Do you remember there being a clock in the room? What? Actually, I don't recall there being a clock. It was on the floor. That makes sense. You wouldn't recall seeing a clock, because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. A place where no one thought to look. And the only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. And my client has informed me that before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so! Tremble in the might of my sketch! What the hell is that supposed to be? An artistic rendition? It's, very distinct. You had information on how the crime scene was before the shooting. Why didn't you just add that to the arcs? Show you my hand? Just because discovery law compels us to share info. What was the point of that Fran character that we talked to early in the game? When is she gonna come back into this? Compels us to share info. Just because discovery law compels us to share info doesn't mean we have to play fair detective. Slipped my mind. I'll do that now. The important thing is, if that clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred, then this photo must be looking through the western window to see it. Don't start getting ahead of yourself. The victim was shot at 9 p.m. The same time that this photo was taken of the shooter. But you want to claim that the clock's still on the eastern wall when it would have been knocked down during the fighting? Got your logic backwards, detective. Your precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And there's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how the cards fell. The glass on top of the body? Cheap, durable, ceramic, not even a scratch, revolver, glass. From mirror broken at crime scene, shards fell onto the victim. Yes. Yes. Maximum bet. Glass shards, what about them? Nothing much. Don't be impressed. This is like the episode 0. This is the demo. Or be impressed. Praise me. Unless I get it wrong, then make fun of me. Only that they're on top of the victim's body and not under it. If the glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed. But that doesn't make any sense. Jeez, Carlos, stop it. Why would anyone trash the room afterwards? It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of a struggle at the other crime scenes? Other crime scenes? No, nothing like that. Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds. So, what did you think when you saw the mess in the bedroom? That this was personal and things had gotten complicated. Shit happens. Shit does happen, detective. But in this case, it seems there's been a general misconception about the order in which shit happened. So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterwards? He still shot her! And we have a photo right here! And I'm glad you do, Detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence. Because that's a right-handed person and he didn't have his arm with him at the time. Ah? Proving that it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, but maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. Thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that it couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger, because the man in that photo can't possibly be Carlos. Like hell it can't. The glass shards prove that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting, and we know that until the room was tossed, that clock was on the eastern wall, which means that, well, I mean, if Carlos can be believed, but which means that this photo of the shooter was taken from the west. Back to this shit, that's impossible. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. Oh, does it? I kind of figured it was an east-west hallway, you know, outside of the door leading into that room, but you know, whatever. The only hallway in that apartment runs from north to south. The only person with prints on that gun is your client, and the only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people! You're a very honest person, Detective. Excuse me? That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You've played your cards too early, and now I can steal the pot right out from under you. You're right. No, she likes smoking, and she likes pot. Makes sense. You're right about the hallway's orientation, you're right about the prints, and this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What? What we're seeing is a reflection. In the shop for mirror, the victim's mirror. Worthless ceramics. No cams. The victim's girlfriend. Mirror. Maximum bet. What is that? You trying the glass shards again? Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? Yeah, sure. They came from a standing mirror. A mirror that, at the time of the shooting, stood across the room from the western window. But then that would mean, at that angle, from that viewpoint, it would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun in their left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And as we all know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks. And he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered. Because it just proved that my client couldn't possibly have committed this crime. Boom! Ah, shucks. Well, phooey. That should be the end of it. Except it looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot palms kind of fever, the impotent irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. That's one word for it. Then allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, ... my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend. Are we going all in, Morgan? And arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with these facts, you received photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client. A man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one. A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs a bit. That's the best you've got? Even a bare-bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. He'd have to bring it to a clinic which would have left a record on his shoulder OS. A record you won't find. And he'd still have to somehow have gotten rid of it before the police arrived. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it, minimum. I feel like we're bullying Detective Reyes now. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? Well... Grrr. Any objections? Grrr. Detective? God. Damn it. Oh! Someone get this woman a Snickers bar. Because she's angry. Show me your hand, Flat. You're uncuffing me? No, I'm gonna sniff your hand and see if there's any gunpowder on it. In light of the evidence, we have no reason to hold you. Now I gotta go call the DA again. I got him out of bed at like 2 in the morning. Oh, they're gonna be pissed. And tell her I made a mistake. Not we made a mistake, huh? Listen, kid, you should know. Detective? Lost my train of thought. But hey, your attorney's a real tiger, and she just fought like hell for you. Make sure you thank her properly. Public defense doesn't pay you that well. Yeah. That's kind of you to say, Detective. But my work is its own reward. That and the paycheck. Eh, sure. I feel exactly the same, counselor. What? What happens now? Well, I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal. And there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats! You get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact. Yay? But what do I do? What am I supposed to do? Well, the detectives will continue their investigation. Their investigation into heartbreak, huh? Yeah. When the authorities are satisfied with their examination of the body, she'll be handed over to the next of kin. And then you can make funeral arrangements. No, that's not what I... Diane being gone is bad enough. But a serial killer? Like, she died of the flu. It doesn't happen anymore. People die of the flu all the time, but... I know what you mean. I can't make sense of it. So, what am I supposed to do? I'll find out. There are some contacts I could give you. Services, professionals, doctors. No, you've done more than enough for me. When you got here, I was too tired to even defend myself, to try and convince them that I didn't. You saved me. Thank you. You're welcome, Carlos. but it's my job to... No, I mean, thank you for not asking. Hmm? For not asking if I killed her. Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. After all. The blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place, easy to find, hard to miss. But the blood's always different. A flowering stain unfurling towards an invisible sun. A perfectly unique bloom, only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with singular, universal meaning, vitality, at its climax. And Brian goes, dun, dun, dun! Yup. Bursting forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite, the end. But the comical thud of a body hitting the floor has its own kind of low-brow appeal. 8:59 p.m., June 4th, 2086. Bullet number 6 of 6. Gun's empty. It's useless to me now, may as well leave it. Feels like a waste, but whatever. Heartbreak. Criminal defense attorney, likes high places, gambling and guns, dislikes nosy people, mud and headphones. Hobby is the batting cages. Favorite dish, mapo tofu. And cannot carry a tune. Finding the ammo was almost enough of a hassle to outweigh the advantages. The power of a comma, yep. Commas are very important. They can change everything. I could sell an untagged gun for a fair bit of cash, but cash can't buy you peace of mind. Brian says, so, is the premise that she commits crimes and then exonerates the person falsely accused of what she did? Oh, don't look so surprised, lady. Moping around in the dark in here must have only been able to see my silhouette. Did she think I was her boyfriend, back for an encore of that enthralling conversation? Can't ask her now. Hey! Yeah, did you hear that? These old pieces are so goddamn loud. People aren't even familiar enough with the sound anymore to know to run the other way. Probably roused half the neighborhood. But I didn't see anything I could use as even a partial suppressor on the way in. Could they really not afford some throw pillows? I used the other 5 bullets in outdoor spaces and small spheres of blind opportunity that the city's eyes couldn't think to pierce. Cramped places, usually full of trash. But this room, cheap as it looks, is at least clean, organized even. So the corpse adds a certain satisfying contrast. Except, I kick over the stupid goddamn mirror. 5 perfect crime scenes, each of them, not a speck of evidence, nothing to go on, and for the final shot, essay angle. At least it'll be consistent. After that, I did start to actively aim for the heart. Still going. Come on. The whole thing just turned off. Nope, now it's back. Like, yeah, I'm getting